Hey friends, welcome back to Mexican, where we talk about all things related to our experience leaving Canada and settling here in Mexico City. Today I'm going to talk about immigration and specifically what path we took to become residents here in Mexico. So third time was the charm for us. We tried a couple of different things first before we stumbled upon this great program called the regularization program that I'm going to talk about in great detail. But the first thing we tried to do when we were still in Calgary, I managed to get an appointment at the Mexican embassy in downtown Calgary. The website was really confusing. It was all in Spanish. I thought that I had it all figured out. We had our forms filled out. We had all of our financial solvency documents, everything that we needed to apply for temporary residency, only to find out when we got to the consulate in Calgary that I had booked the wrong appointment. I had booked an appointment that was about reunification of families coming back together and that type of residency permit. So it is what it is. You live and learn, I suppose. So we decided regardless, we were just going to go as planned. We were going to get to Mexico City. And then when we get there, we were going to hire an immigration lawyer to help us on the path to getting our residency. So that's exactly what we did. We got settled in our neighborhood, moved into our apartment, and then we thought we had found what we thought was a good immigration lawyer to help us. Turns out they weren't so great. They took some money from us and then they went dark. So that wasn't great. I think it was about $1,500 we had paid them to get the process started. So that was a little bit unfortunate. And I was getting a little bit nervous because we were just there on a tourist visa. We were given 6 months when we arrived in Mexico City. So I just really wanted to make sure that we were doing everything correctly. We didn't want to overstay our welcome. We wanted to follow all the rules of residency. So I had joined a couple of Facebook groups, just of expats coming to Mexico. Really great resource, by the way. A lot of great questions and answers you can find there. And that is where I actually stumbled upon a number of conversations talking about this guy that had a business in Merida, this Mexican man that had a business in Merida, which is not too far away from Cancun. And he was helping folks work their way through a new program that Mexico had just started, and it's called the regularization program. And they started this residency program just for folks kind of like us that had left during the COVID period and come to Mexico seeking amnesty. Really is what they call the program. It's an amnesty program, and it was fantastic. So we hired this guy after checking a number of references because we weren't going to make that mistake again. We checked a number of references, found out this guy really truly was just providing this great service for folks like us. And so we started to work through the process. So what the regularization program is it's for people that are already in Mexico. So you can't apply for this, for your temporary residency through this avenue without being here in Mexico first. So you've got to come to Mexico and you have to let your tourist visa expire. So we waited the 6 months until our visa was expired, and then we hopped on a flight and we flew down to Merida to meet up with this gentleman that helped us at the immigration office. He helped us with all of our paperwork, really was a lifesaver. So must be in Mexico, must have your expired tourist visa. And then the other qualification, if you will, is that you have to have been to Mexico once or twice from the years 2015 to 2022. And I say once or twice because it depends on which immigration office you go to. You will get used to that in Mexico. It's just a little more, we're used to a lot of standardization and, regulations in Canada. It's a little bit looser here. So 1 or 2 times, you've got to have just the stamp in your passport. That's fine, because we were doing this through the immigration office in Progresso, which is a very small town just outside of Merida. We needed to have 2 expired stamps in our passport. That's it. You don't have to show financial solvency. You don't have to show anything other than that. There's, of course, quite a bit of paperwork to fill out, but if you hire a consultant or a facilitator, our guy, and I'm happy to make any introductions. I'm going to put a link to his Facebook page in the comments below. He helped us with all of the paperwork. He filled it all out. We showed up at the immigration office. He made our appointments. We went inside. We met with the immigration officials. He was there with us. They did our biometrics. And that was it. Took our pictures, biometrics, done. 48 hours later, we had our 4-year temporary residency cards FedEx to us in the mail back in Mexico City. The cost for the 4-year temporary residency is about 16,000 pesos. So depending on what your exchange rate is, it's just over $1,000 per person. And then of course you pay a fee for your facilitator to facilitate the process for you. I'm not sure what Jonathan charges now. I think it was about 5,000 or 6,000 pesos for each of us, but just worth every penny because, you know, it's the government and there's a lot of forms and they're all in Spanish. And if you're not fluent in Spanish, it can be a little bit more difficult. So that is the path that we took. It is phenomenal. Almost everybody that we've kind of spoken to in this, you know, Canadians coming down to Mexico, this is the path that they're taking. It's really terrific. I can't say enough good things about it. I'm going to post another link in the comments just where you can read all about this regularization program. That's a mouthful, to get all the details. But what happens after 4 years, you can then convert that temporary residency into permanent residency. And then once you're permanent resident for a year, then you can apply to take the actual Mexican citizenship exam. So that's what Jim and I are going to do. We're going to work our way up to becoming actual Mexican citizens. But for right now, we feel really good about just having our 4-year residency here. What do you get with your temporary residency? Well, you can come and go from the country now as often as you want. And a great benefit is that you get to go in the Mexican custom lines when you're returning back to Mexico. So much shorter lines. It's a real breeze at the airport. So that's a nice benefit. You can open up bank accounts. So obviously really difficult to do any banking here. Open up a bank account if you don't have your residency permit. So, you know, that kind of triggered a series of other kind of milestones for us in our journey here. I am going to do a separate video all about banking and finances here in Mexico, but you do need your residency to open up a bank account. It's easier to rent an apartment, to set up services like phone and internet and all of those types of good things. You have to have that. You can get a tax number once you have a Mexican tax number, once you have your temporary residency in place. And we're working through the process now of working with an accountant in Canada and trying to see financially, because there is a tax treaty between Canada and Mexico, which is more advantageous. So I will do, once we kind of work our way through that process, I will do a video just on that tax status, which one is better based on your situation. You can register a vehicle and get a driver's license once you have your temporary residency. And you also get access to the public healthcare system. They, like Canada, have a free public healthcare system. They also have a private system as well. And I'm going to do a couple of videos on healthcare because I do suggest, even though you can access the public hospitals, they are plagued with a lot of the same problems in Canada: really long wait times, availability of doctors. So I strongly suggest getting private insurance here, but that's a whole other ball of wax there. So there are a bunch of really great benefits to, you know, going through the legal process to getting your residency. It is not as painful as you think. So I hope that's been helpful. I'm going to drop a couple of links in the comments. If you have questions, please feel free to just ask them in the comment section, or find me on X. You can follow me there. And anywhere that works for you. I'm going to drop my email address in the comments as well, in case anybody wants to reach out with some specific questions. So I hope that's been helpful, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.